What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hardworking Happy Hour. I'm Sean.
And I'm Catherine, and as always, we'll be breaking down all things trades, entrepreneurship, and turning your creativity into a passion career. Hey, Sean.
What's up, Catherine?
Oh, gosh, so much.
Really? Like what?
Like, sky, birds, drones.
Oh. Birds aren't real, first of all. They're drones.
Well, they're drones.
Yeah. Classic. Anyway. So you were just there's
I was
not
just
really
razzing.
there's
Nothing
not a
good.
whole lot going on.
Well, we have an exciting episode for all the people.
We have an exciting episode today for you, a really exciting one. Why don't you tell us about it? What do we got?
So, for today's episode, we get to have the pleasure and privilege of getting to interview Dan Preston for a second time. And he's one of our favorites. He's been one of our favorites for a long time. He's an incredible craftsman. He's turned his craft into a mentorship program, which we don't take lightly here on this podcast. We do not endorse.
We're very leery.
Gurus. You know, we're leery of them. But he's the one standout that we feel comfortable recommending to people and shouting his praises because he really is something special, and he's got something special going on with his whole, just everything about him. So,
just a good guy.
He's just a good guy. He's like
just
the best.
A good guy.
He's so nice,
you know?
and we got to hang out with him a couple times now, but like for the first time a couple years ago, and the first time you meet him, you just realize he's good people. So
yeah.
He's got a lot of knowledge to drop, and he does in this episode. We already recorded it. Now we're recording the intro, so I know what we talk about.
You do? Now. Oh my god!
I just feel like that's weird
when you're like, I wonder what we're going to talk about.
I wonder what it's going to be. I already know.
Yeah, we already know because we already recorded it, and it was super interesting. And Dan is an awesome dude, and you know when you meet these people online, and you start chatting with them, and then you never know until you meet them in person whether you really click or if they're like what they seem online and all that kind of stuff. And he's just a good guy. He's just a good dude.
Yeah.
Thinks outside the box, is just really passionate, and I feel like he's doing things for the right reasons. So that's why we're excited to hear more about his Hardscape Mentor program, all of that stuff, because he's just a good dude.
He's a good dude.
He's just a good dude. My God.
And like I said, this is the second time we got to interview him. Lots of good things, but a lot has changed in 2 years. So if you want to listen to this one, listen now, and then go back and listen to the first episode, which was on October 24th, 2022. So.
Oh, wow. Good. Way to pull that right up.
Yeah,
job.
No problem.
Awesome.
I did my research.
You're doing great. You're doing a great job.
I did some pre-planning. No big deal.
Good job. Well, I guess without any further
ado,
go ahead. Hey-o. What's happening? I wasn't sure who was gonna say something first, so I came in hot with the
you jumped right into it. You did a great job.
I did. Well, we've got Mr. Dan Preston here, and I gotta say, I'm excited. I'm very excited. He's one of my favorite people in this industry. Acquaintance turned dear friend.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I'm going to have to say the feelings are identically mutual. So.
Perfect. And
this is our second time guest, second only to our own Anthony Lombardo. So this is very special to have a repeat podcast guest.
That's awesome. And to be in the company of Ant as well. Yeah. I love it.
It's in the company of giants.
Yeah.
Well, so it's been over 2 years since we had you on, has it?
Yep. October of 2022.
Yeah.
Wow. That is crazy. Right?
What
was it? It was at HNA, was it?
Yeah.
Yep. We snuck away and found a spot and locked the door and
yep. Just acted like we owned the place. And that was so funny too, because we've done that a couple times now. Catherine's really good at just like finding a space and like pretending like we own this conference section in an expo center. And you had your little protege Angel was with you, and then somebody that worked at the convention center like walked into the room, and he was like, "Whoa, hey, quiet, we're recording," and they just walked out.
I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Yeah.
Angel. One thing about Angel, he's a very fast learner. You let him know what's going on, he's going to take care of what he has to take care of.
I love it.
He did.
I love it. So, Dan, what's been going on the last 2 years, my man? It's been we've been following you. We've been seeing everything. Well, not everything, but we've been seeing a lot of good stuff. So, give us a quick recap of the last 2 years of your life.
A little synopsis, I guess. Inspiring, motivating. It's just been incredible with Hardscape Mentor. Like I didn't see that position of Hardscape Mentor coming. I didn't see, what we were going to start building with that. I didn't see any of that coming. I just wanted to start putting out video content and sharing that with our members. And then it's just turned into this amazing community. So over the last 2 years, we've just been gathering the herd, right? That's what we're calling the members. And the herd means we are a group of like-minded individuals with the same goals, traveling in the same direction, right? And that's exactly what it is. So the members who are joining this group are just like, they're ballers already. Just trying to take it to the next level. Like their mindset to surround themselves and invest in themselves, is no doubt going to make them succeed. And then it's like, it's all the same energy in the room, like in our masterminds and the Facebook group. So it's just been overwhelming, man, meeting 20-year-olds where they're at on their journey, meeting, 40, 50-year-old lawn care guys who want to start putting in patios. So I've just been trying to meet these guys where they're at on their journey and girls where they're at on their journey and take them from there with the resources that they've been providing and building. So it's been amazing, man. It's been absolutely amazing. And the time of my life, the satisfaction of giving back what I know, right? So
for sure. And we kind of touched on this, like we talked to you on the phone, like, I don't know, probably an hour or two ago, and, talking about the like mentorship kind of like space that's out there right now with gurus and all that kind of stuff. So we're really leery of like, providing this as a platform for people that are like the guru mentor type. With that being said, we fully endorse what Dan is doing, because there's just like, I think there's like this essence of the word like mentor, guru. Like there's just so many people trying to do it with no credibility of like what they're actually going to be providing to people. It's like all of this, like, I've got this system figured out. I'm going to teach you the quick system to make $1 million or whatever. But you're legit. We can say that. I have no doubt saying you are legit. You're teaching the right stuff, and you're doing it from like, the right perspective. Like you're not pushing it as like, you want to become a millionaire, follow this guideline. It's like, you want to really learn the right way to do stuff. You want to take all of my 20, 30, whatever years experience and learn from that. Like that's what you're going to get. So that's, I just want to start off by saying that that's what I love about it. You're not trying to like, say, join this group and within a year, you're going to have a Lambo like me. I don't think that you have a Lambo. So
no.
I just want to start by saying that, because I feel like there's connotations around that word now, which is kind of sad.
I know, and I feel like the timing of it, even like 2 years ago, and I feel like the guru mentor thing is getting hot, is getting popular, right? So people are trying to jump on there. But like I told you on the phone, I'm just always trying to hold my credibility with my street cred, my portfolio, the success of my projects in the past, and it's like, and just like you guys do with Premiere and how you've separated yourself. It's just like kill it with craftsmanship, right? Innovative design, craftsmanship. You can buy whatever you want after you start making that money. But if you even sell $1 million job and you don't build it correctly, it's not worth a dime. So I think that's the biggest premise of our group is separate yourself with innovative design, superior craftsmanship, and then the sky is the limit. Like teaching guys how to build it right. And I guess I can go look at a patio I put in 25 years ago. So that's the difference. And it probably doesn't look very well because I learned a whole bunch since then. That's what I'm trying to give back. So
Yeah, I love that. And one of the biggest things about you and the kind of like personal brand that you've built around Preston Hardscape Design and just you personally is this attention to detail, this artistic way about design that you infuse into the hardscapes that you're doing. And I always say that one of like the best things that you can do is when you're just scrolling through like an Instagram feed, if you can create a style that like instantly, without even seeing the name, you just see the picture, you know who did it. Like that is, you're setting yourself apart, and you have absolutely done that. And that's kind of been your calling card, is like these distinctive outdoor spaces, the curves, the just the focus on design. So how do you like teach that? How do you get somebody else to find like what's unique about their style and kind of bring that out?
Oh, I love it for sure. The biggest thing I'll say is like being yourself. Like that's something that I've had to embrace throughout the course of my career. I'm still trying to embrace it today. It's just being yourself and your own thoughts. Now, I do feel like I'm an artist. I came out of the womb as an artist. I'm not going to, I feel like I can say that. But and a lot of these guys that I'm teaching, they want to learn how to design like me, right? So, so getting my creative thoughts out there and telling them why things go where they go and why I think the way I do. I might not necessarily be able to give them the vision, or they're not going to have the vision right off the bat. But if I can just kind of say, well, this circle came from this thought and this curve came from this thought. So I'm teaching guys with like the creativity and the inlays, right? I think that's how I've kind of made a name for myself, is with the distinctive inlays with a couple borders in there, compass roses, stars, flagstone, whatever may be. But lately my premise has been, what am I doing with these inlays? And I think you do this as a designer very well too, Sean. It's like we designate a space and we provide access and flow.
Yeah.
So it's like they're just like someone lays out the rooms in a new home. I'm laying out the sections of your outdoor living space with banding lines or with seat walls or with boulders or whatever, right? So when these guys are like, well, I'm not creative, I'm not an artist. And I just say to them, even if you're not, start building stuff and, it will come the other way for you. Like maybe I was artist first and then I started building. But I think if you start building stuff and kind of pushing the limits, you'll be able to see what you can do. And then the creativity will come.
Yeah.
That's kind of give them the thought process, how these designs come together. And then I think their creativity will come with some of that knowledge. So, yeah.
For sure. And I think like design and artistry it's a hard thing to teach somebody. It's almost like, you kind of think of it as something you're either born with or you're not, and something you cultivate on your own. But I think one of the things that I see in design, whether it's inside, outside, is, that old adage that form follows function. So if you really understand the function of the space, then you can design around that. And then you're just putting like those kind of little details on top of it that put it over the top, where I think there are a lot of people that just want to throw all of these crazy things into it. And like, that's going to make a cool space. But you really just start with the simple flow and function of the space. Then, you're well on your way to creating this super unique, usable, functional space. So have you seen like that transformation with any of your mentees, people in the herd, like where they have that doubt and you've seen them kind of grow as a designer?
100%, man. And I'm really leaning into these guys with the design stuff. Like that's another thing. A lot of this stuff I didn't see coming. And then they were letting these members like predict where the future goes. It's like that, the feedback comes in and we go from there. So helping these guys with designs, I've been really leaning into that. I mean, I think I can say we've changed the courses of some of these guys' businesses. They go from putting in, a cookie cutter patio, square, one color, no designation of space, no access and flow. Well, then you can be compared to everybody in your market, right? Because that's what everybody is doing. So if you throw a circle in there, you throw some curves in there, and then I'm really dialing them in the details. Like they'll watch some of my videos and be like, wow, he thinks about that even. And then a lot of the cool thing now is like a lot of these business owners who aren't in the field are training their crews with my videos. So it's just like reiterating, like details will take everything to the next level. Innovative design will take everything to the next level. And the testimonies and feedback I have coming in, like, check out this design you helped me with. I just sold it, right? Like it's crazy. And then it's like someone's seen this and they want it now. Like, and I'm just using the dead experience that I've had for the past 7 years. How did I get the next job? How did I get to the point that I'm at? By doing these things. And I think it's possible for anybody to do those things, right? And it's it's really nothing crazy. Like I said, it's being yourself, paying attention to the details. I think another thing that I kind of set myself up for this position as Hardscape Mentor was I was always in the field, right? So I could always stop the show and set up the camera, right? I could always recut something for camera. I could always take the details to the next level myself. And I think it's like you're always out on site making sure the designs are going together how they should be going together. And so, I didn't build anything residual with Preston Hardscape Design. I don't have a big team. I don't have it, but it's like I've just been gaining this knowledge and I've been stopping everything because I've been the guy in the field. I'm the guy on the saw, right? But I'm also the guy who drew it. Well, then it's just going to be, if I can put all my vision out there in the craftsmanship, that's what takes these projects to the next level. And it's just crazy because, people have got to know who I was and it's literally me in the field. And I get a lot of feedback from business owners who have 10 crews and do, $20 million a year. And they're just like, well, how'd you get those followers? How'd you get those sponsors? How'd you get this? And it's just like, it's just because it's always just been me, right? So there's good and bad there. When the people say working in your business and on your business, working in my business got me to this level. It's crazy to say, right? But it really did. So now it's like, where do I take it from here? What can I do with Preston Hardscape Design? Well, I built a name for myself. I'm going to start giving back now as Hardscape Mentor.
Yeah. And a lot of people look at that, like work in your business versus on your business, and they just think that, the goal is always to just scale and grow and make more money. And, there is, especially in a trade and something that requires craftsmanship and really requires experience. It's not simple cut and dry kind of stuff here. It really does require that kind of experience. And you do see people come into this field that, especially like during the COVID boom, you see all these new businesses popping up and everybody's got the key to success and how they're going to do things. And then you see it's just not long lasting. Like the tried and true thing of really honing your craft and gaining that experience is irreplaceable. And I think just the way that you've been able to bring all of that knowledge together and present it in a digestible format of all these videos and the group and all that kind of stuff is really cool. So how do you, kind of leaning into that design concept, how do you kind of teach people to start? Like, I know that you're big on doing things in SketchUp, but do you recommend that people kind of start out with a freehand sketch, doing it on graph paper? Like, how do you, somebody comes in and says, I really just don't know how to design. All I can think of is this 12 by 12 square. What do you tell them initially to kind of like, get them going in the right direction?
Right. So I just did a call with a kid, and he had a blank slate out the back door, and that's the best possible opportunity. But how do you start to lay that out? And it's really listening to your client, right? Like what are your needs and wants? That's what it comes down to, is what are the client's needs and wants, and what are the problems that I'm going to solve for them? Right. Yeah. So that's where it all starts. Like, what are the needs and wants? Well, if they don't need a hot tub, we don't have to figure out a spot for a hot tub. Yeah. But if they need a hot tub, they need a fire pit, they need a pergola, and they kind of give you all these things, then it goes back to my principles. Designate the space for the grill. Designate the space for the table. How do you get to the grill? How do you get to the table? How do you get in the front door? Things like that. And just start to, even if your lines aren't curves like mine and are still, straights and squares, you can still designate space and lead people through the hardscape. And that's just really what I try to tell them. Don't put a table right outside the patio door. People aren't going to walk there. Yeah. Put it off to the side. Now, how do we get over there? Where's the fire pit go? So it's really just your client's needs and wants, the problems you have to solve, and like I said, I think the creativity comes, is what I'm always trying to stress to these guys. Just push the limits, put a circle inlay in there. That's not that hard. The next person who calls you out is going to call you for that circle inlay. So just teaching these guys to lay out space and provide that access and flow, and then take things a little bit differently. Like, if you think the last guy would do this, we'll do something different. Like, I'll slide a boulder in there and scribe around it. It might not be for everybody, but the right client is going to eat that up, and they're going to call you out for it. Yep. So it's really, I'm trying to get these guys to separate themselves in their market. That's really my premise. I feel like that's how I got to this point, was by separating myself because of my style, my craftsmanship, my details. And then people can't compare you in your market. A lot of people are looking for work right now, and how do you advertise? And my first question is, what does your portfolio look like? You just have to lean into your portfolio, or you have to start building it. Like, well, I can't get the right client to build it for me. Well, do you own your own house? Do your parents own their own house? Like, go off on a relative's house, document the crap out of it, take pictures through the whole thing, and push the limits. Maybe you're not going to make all the money you need to, but my favorite line in my mastermind is the next guy pays.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's the exact premise that we built Premiere with was, take whatever budget we could find from somebody, and the budget's not going to be there in the beginning because nobody knows who you are. You don't have the portfolio or the reputation to say, all right, yeah, give me $200,000 to do your backyard. They're going to be like, well, you've never done anything like this before. I'm not going to trust you. So you got to take whatever budget you can get and make that sacrifice and spend the extra time there and look at it as not only just you're paying for experience, which you are, but I looked at it as it's a marketing expense. Like, I need a portfolio. That is the number one thing that I need to start everything I want to do. So I'm looking at this as like, instead of me going out and buying ads or doing a billboard, I am basically, taking money out of my hourly pay and just doing it so that we get this finished picture. And that's what's going to sell the next job. And it doesn't matter if it was, I charged this person $15,000, even though it should have been $80,000. All that matters is like, we got this picture, and I can go to the next person and say, oh yeah, we can do all kinds of stuff like this. Like, check this out. This is an $80,000 project, just give you an idea, ballpark. Like, you don't have to say, here's a $15,000 project that I did. You can tell them what it should cost. And like you said, the next guy pays. Once you've proven yourself, that's when you can implement, like, okay, now I can start making some more profit on these kind of projects. So I love to hear that. And when you go about, I really want to kind of stay on this design thing and kind of pick your brain about that, because I know that's such a specialty of yours. When you look at different spaces that you're going to do, like you said, do they want a pergola, a hot tub, a grill area? Have you kind of like developed certain ways that these things work ideally? Like, when I look at it, I'll look at these as each one is going to need a certain amount of space. And then it's how do you arrange those shapes together? Kind of walk me through your mindset of just how you process that.
I'm just going to be honest, and you can probably look at my portfolio and tell it. Sometimes I just draw a circle and move it around.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I start to move a circle around, and if it's going to be a fire pit circle, well, the minimum diameter is 15 feet. So there can be things like that go into play. A hot tub is usually 7.6 by 7.6 or 8 by 8. It's like, what kind of space is that going to be? So it's experience and, putting other spaces together, seeing how people are going to live. But my thought process is really just flow. Like, that's my style, is if one flow to the next flow. I learned a long time ago, like, and it sounds weird, but mowing around these spaces is something that got me to think about flow and not see like awkward unions and random spots that go into the yard where someone would have to get their mower in and out. I think that's really where it started from. Like, someone could throw me a foundation of a house and I'll put, curvy bed lines around it all day long. And then I can throw a patio in there. So like I said, really comes from needs and wants of the client, and then designating that space, giving them what they need. If they have a 20 by 40 pool, well, that can't be 2 feet away from the house. We need at least 8 feet, away from the home for two-way traffic, or just things like that. Or I'll just draw the 20 by 40 rectangle and I'll start moving it around by the house. Right. And then how do I get out there? Probably with some sweet curves. Where does the fire pit go? So yeah, it really just comes from, and on SketchUp, like, curves and circles are easy to me, are easy to draw on there. They kind of turn blue, and then that's a good curve. So, and then whenever I'm drawing anything, I'm building it in the field. I think there's such an advantage to being the designer who also builds it. It really is. And I think that's how, as much as you want to be out of your business or just stay in there for a little while, or always check in on your work, making sure the vision is still staying the same. But yeah, back to your question, it's solving the client's problem with designating space and access and flow. Yeah.
I like how simply you put it, because it really is. And I think you also go about it like reverse engineering the space, where I think previously with outdoor spaces like 10, 20 years ago, especially with decks, I see it all the time where it's just like, here's a rectangle. I don't know what the hell you're going to put on it, but here you go.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe a table's going to fit. I don't know.
Right.
Here you go. And I always looked at it like you got to start with what's the furniture that's going to go there. There's going to be a 6-person table or an 8-person table or a 10-person table. These are all going to need different amounts of space. You're going to need room to walk around it. I mean, I can't tell you how many decks I've gone to see where it's 12 feet off the house and they have a dining table on it. And it's like, that's not enough room. There's not enough room to walk around it.
No access and flow.
Exactly. And when you start pointing those things out, when you go to a consultation with a client, you start kind of pointing out some of the things that they're probably experiencing as pain points. Like, you pointed out like, all right, so I see, you're coming off about 12 feet here. You probably feel like that's not enough space. Like you feel kind of cramped up. And when you start pointing those things out, they start to realize this guy knows what he's talking about. He's got some, he's just been here for 5 minutes and he has kind of put words to all of the pain points that we've experienced over however long they've lived there. And a lot of times it's not even something that they've consciously noticed. They just know this space doesn't work. I'm not really sure why, but you start putting those things out and then they get that confidence that, okay, he can point out what's wrong with this one. I feel confident that he's going to be able to figure out what to do to make it function for us the way that we want. So,
right.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm leaning into these guys about selling the space, right? So really figure out their needs and wants, draw something crazy with some inlays in it, but then you're going to tell them the flagstone leads you to the fire pit. Check this out. You're going to have full room to walk through here. Your table's off to the left. I designated the space over here with some banding lines. So as soon as I tell them, they're just going to be like, wow, look at all these curves and inlays. It might seem overwhelming at the time, but as soon as I tell them, just like you said, the function of the form, then I start to sell my design, because these guys will be like, this is awesome, but how do I sell this? Well, you have to tell them why you drew it like that. Right. Yeah. And that's exactly what you said. Another guy's going to come out there and draw 20 by 40 patio and be like, here you go. Well,
yep.
That's not going to feel the same if you say this corner's for this. This is how you walk to this. Like, I think that's really appealing to people. And I've just started to think about this more and more. It's just like laying out the interior of a home. It really, really is. What do you want? An open concept with access and flow, designating space. So just like the home builders, chalk their lines on the floor or whatever, I'm always on the spray paint, right? You can see that on the gravel. It's the same exact thing. I'll even spray paint banding lines. Those are going to be covered, but we're laying out the areas. And even when I'm spraying out the lines, the design starts to come to life. And then the client, a lot of times when I spray out the lines, it might lead to a change order or something like that. So where they just really start to feel their space, or they might even throw a table out there already and you're not ready for that. But you painted it where the space was, so they're going to bring out their furniture. But I love that you're reiterating some of the things that I say, because I've definitely always looked up to you and been inspired by you, and a lot of other guys in the industry are. So I like it when Dan and Sean are saying the same thing. for sure.
For sure, man. So tell us a little bit about, your newest kind of venture, the next step with Hardscape Mentor. It's been a little over 2 years, I guess like 2.5 years it's been, and over 700 members.
We're closing in on 700 now. We have an elite membership tier and a standard membership tier. The standard members get full access to the website. So hundreds of video tutorials, the on-demand app. So we really started out. I mean, Luke Parmenter, my business partner, you guys have met Luke, and he's really like the machine behind this thing, behind what we're doing out here. And it's like we wanted to have the largest, virtual academy of hardscape training videos in the world, and we still will, and we might already. But what we realized, what we started was a group. If you sign up to be a member, then you became part of the herd and part of our community. And that's kind of the elite tier, where we have the private Facebook group, which it's the most positive Facebook community in the industry. I guarantee it. A brand new kid can put something in there. And the cool thing about the group is I'm having my peers join the group. Like, not everyone is joining the herd because they need to watch the tutorials. Some of these guys are just joining the herd to hang out with like-minded people. So, we're really excited about that. And we're really excited about the growth of the group. And I think that's going to be What I didn't see coming was the community that we're developing, because guys just relate so much with each other. Like, the coolest thing about the herd is guys are meeting in monthly masterminds or the Facebook group, and now they're collaborating in the same market. We never used to work with anybody in our same town, right? That's crazy. But now guys are teaming up with each other. I'll design this for you. You bring your skid steer over here for me. We just know each other because we're part of the herd. If I can be the conduit to get this network, to get this industry to work together in every market, like, I will take that to my grave. And that's pretty much what we didn't see coming. So then the other thing we didn't see coming was, we're like, no, we're virtual. We can crank out the content. We can get a lot more out there. We can get a lot more eyeballs on it, right? If it's just a Zoom course, I can teach 100 guys in there, right? But everyone was asking us for in-person training, and I get it, right? Because we're hardscapers, we're landscapers. A lot of us learn with our hands, or they've watched every video and they're ready to take it to the field, but they don't have the project to do that with or something. So what Luke and I decided to do was, instead of buying the Lamborghini, we put all of our money into what we're calling Hardscape Mentor Studios, and it's going to launch here later on this winter, first part of spring. We're going to have our launch summit, and we'll be ready to go. And what that is a content creation studio, an in-person training facility. We're going to have the gravel sandbox. We're going to have a podcast room. We're going to have a herd lounge. We're trying to create a place where the industry could hang out, get to know each other, and take their business to the next level. So coming in later on this winter, like I said, March, April timeframes, we're going to kick this thing off, and we're going to be hosting live in-person trainings in Wisconsin coming up for Hardscape Mentor. And we're starting with our members first. Our members provided this for us, our members who are the ones who got this into fruition. So our waiting list right now is members only, and we're going to start there and see if we can even get through that list, is what I'm thinking. So yeah, super excited. But then with that comes all the content that comes out of those trainings. And now I can do things on demand. Like, a lot of the training stuff that we put out there for Hardscape Mentor was a project that I had to be physically building. So I take the client's needs and wants, and they don't want something that I can train on. Well, so the last couple of years, I've just been looking at the designs that I've sold, and I'm like, what kind of training courses can I make out of this design, right? But now I have 1,000 square foot sandbox with 3 home facades on it, and I can go in there and build anything whenever I want to. I can train anybody on anything I want to. How do you build a fire pit? I'll build one for you right now. So it's pretty cool that what we're launching there, and I'm just super, super excited about the future, and to bring everyone to this Northwoods hardscape camp in Wisconsin for sure. So thank you for asking that, for sure. It's been a rocket. And I love your line. It's like, we're on our way to the moon. If you want to help me pay for gas, I remember when we were talking about that. And
it's like, we're going either way.
Yes. And
you come with us, at least help us pay for gas, but we're going whether you come or not.
And with that said, we have a lot of the industry supporting us. We have some big players in the industry, some big time partnerships and affiliates who are going to be involved with us on this training center. So it's no doubt going to be a success. And we are just itching to tell the public, because it's not fully out there yet. So I love just, kind of dropping or whispering. This is what Luke and I call this, right? We're just whispering right now, but I would say just be ready, because there's going to be nothing like it. Just like there's nothing like our group. And I love how you said that. And I don't want to make it sound like another group, because it's definitely not. Where you can go into a group and you can learn design, you can learn how to build, and you can also, network with guys in your market. And we're all just trying to separate ourselves with craftsmanship, kill it with the design work. Like, we'll have guys say, what would you do here? What would you do here? And it's all because we're trying to take ourselves to another level. So I always say, one herd, one direction, and that direction is up.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Since you're dealing with, a lot of the members are new to business, probably they're new to a lot of this, whether it's just the patio installation itself, whether it's business as a whole. I'm sure you have a pretty decent mix of people trying to expand into hardscapes versus people just trying to that is their business and they're trying to get everything off the ground at the same time. What are some of the biggest struggles you kind of see with new business owners? What are they having the most trouble with, that you're kind of experiencing and able to help with?
I guess a lot of it is probably like I said, getting out of the field too quick. I mean, no offense, but if you start your business at 20, you can hang out there for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So don't step out of your business so fast. And then, you're handing off stuff to other people because you think the ultimate goal is to grow your business like this way with 5 crews or whatever it takes. So it's like, I think it's really just finding what you're comfortable with and going with that. But a lot of these guys are struggling with marketing, right? How do I sell the next job? And I just take it right back to how I got here, how I sold my next job, right? And so It's like you're paying for Google SEO or you're paying this marketing firm to help you with this or help you with this. And so I'll do these calls with these guys and I'll be like, so I can't get any jobs right now. And I'm trying these different marketing things. And I paid this much money for this ad and this much. And I said, have you ever put your face on camera? I said, have you ever turned your phone around and told people who you were? Like organic marketing. And I would start there, right? And I tell these guys, like, I live in this little bitty town and, there's not these clients. And I said, do all the plumbers, electricians, carpenters, do they all know who you are? Did you go out and knock on their doors and introduce yourself and say, I'm a new hardscaper? And then the biggest thing I'm telling these guys is to get your face on camera. To me, that's been the biggest form of marketing. And you are another example of it as well, is getting your face on camera. I don't know if Luke coined the phrase, but I'm going to give it to him. People do business with who they know, like, and trust, right? And how do you gain that know, like, and trust besides your portfolio? Turn your phone around and put your face on camera. Introduce yourself. Be the face of your business. And I no doubt it will take you to the next level. So I'm pretty proud and humbled. Like, I can look on Instagram right now and I could give you the names of half a dozen guys who never had their face on camera. And now their face is always on camera. And what do you think their business has done?
For sure.
Right? So how do you sell the next job, I think, is how do you sell? How do you advertise? How do you market? I think that's the biggest struggle coming in, right? So it's developing that portfolio, putting your face on camera. That's what I preach.
Yeah. And it's absolutely true that, like, you need to gain the trust of that client, and that, like, a huge part of that obviously is showing them what you've done in the past and show, hey, this is what you could have. Obviously, that's a huge part of it, but there's also another part of it where they just get to know you. And I've said the same thing to a lot of people where they're like, especially, I guess, probably, I don't know, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, like when Instagram stories were kind of like not new, like a lot of people weren't doing them as much. And it was like, just start doing them. And like, for me, it was, I think I was already doing YouTube videos at that point, like just starting out on that. But like, even for me, like to just turn your phone around and like, just talk directly into it, like it feels weird. Of course it does. Like there's nobody there. Like you're like, oh, the homeowner's probably looking at me out the window. Like, who the hell is he talking to? But you start doing it, you do it a couple times and it's just like, feels natural. And there's so much value in putting yourself out there, even if you don't have a lot of followers. Like people are like, oh, well, I only have 500 followers. And I always say, imagine, wherever you are, like, imagine if there's 500 people in this room. That's a lot of people. Can you do 500 projects a year? No. You might do 5 or 10 or whatever. Like, realize that if you have, the right people following you, even if it's 500 or 1,000, like that's a lot of people.
Who's in there? Who makes up the 500? Is what I would say, right? There could be one celebrity in there. Who knows? To LA, right? It doesn't matter. Who's the one? And it was the same thing when I got the job in Knoxville. I think I maybe had 2,000 followers on Instagram. I probably had a couple hundred subscribers on YouTube, but that guy seen my face on camera. He's seen my YouTube videos, and he lived in Knoxville, and he didn't know anyone in Knoxville, 5 years ago who was putting their face on camera and being on YouTube. Yeah. So it's always like, I didn't take the job from the guys in Knoxville. He hired someone that he knew from Wisconsin. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So
it's crazy to think, because I know what project you're talking about, and it you I think did a couple projects for their family, but to like look back and realize like you only had 2,000 followers back then, like you were really just kind of like starting to put your face out there more, and that's a testament to, you don't have to like be like a person that like is trying to gain followers. A lot of people look at it and they're like, well, I'm not trying to do the content thing. Like, I don't, I just want more jobs. And it's like, well, this is going to help you get more jobs for sure. Especially if you take the stuff that you're doing, you engage with your audience through Instagram stories and stuff like that, or just standalone videos that you're going to post on Facebook and Instagram, touring a project that you just completed or something, and then posting that to the local Facebook groups. That was a huge, huge thing for me getting started, was just posting every week in all of these local Facebook groups, and it's free. You can put, the coolest, new project that you did, and don't be super salesy about it. Just say, hey, just finished up this project. Let me know what you think. By the way, if you're interested in a project, here's a link to our website or something. But, that feedback of, you go to that initial consultation and they say, I feel like I know you already because I've watched these videos. That right there is kind of priceless, because you need to have that trust. When somebody's going to hand over a huge check, they want to feel like, I know this person. I have faith and confidence that they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to be a fly-by-night contract that's going to disappear on me. They're there. They're out in the open, and that is a huge part of building trust and starting on that road to building your business, building your portfolio, everything.
Being vulnerable, I think, is what I realized. Like, being vulnerable, like, I'm showing you literally how I put my base in. I'm showing you how I cut this paver. Like, I'm putting it all out there. Like, everything about how I build, what I know, you already know. There's no question to be asked. And I would be leery of the guy who's not on Instagram and not putting all of his work out there, as opposed to the guy who's just showing you everything and how he builds it. Then a successful portfolio, repeat clients, testimonies, whatever, that all comes from there. But yeah, I totally agree with it. And like getting your face on camera the first time, like you said. So that's something we really talk about in the Facebook group. Is this is a safe space. And we do these, I call them lunchtime lives, and I go live on my lunch break and I just turn my phone around and I show people what I'm doing on my job site. And a lot of guys are doing the same thing. And it's the only time they've ever been on camera and a selfie mode in their life.
Yeah.
And the first time some guy chimed in, he said, "What's up, Herd?" And that's when I knew I was onto something, man. As soon as that guy felt like he was part of a safe community, and he's like, "What's up, boys?" He doesn't know any of you, but he all knows we're here for the same reason.
Yeah.
And so then these guys are just going live on their lunch breaks, going live. And now I don't see them anymore. Not because now they're live on their Instagram all the time, right?
Yep.
But I love it. That's exactly what I want. Get comfortable here, take it to the world, and take your business to the next level.
For sure. What do you say to you probably also have a decent mix of contractors that are, I'd say, following the more, they're inspired more by the artistic approach that you have, that really want to establish themselves as like a really, just great designer and installer of amazing spaces. You probably have a good portion of people that want that and really want to like follow your footsteps that you took. And then probably people that want to learn how to do it well, learn how to install, but they really have the goals on scaling the business and growing it like crazy. How do you navigate giving advice whether people should stay small and be more of this boutique style versus growing and scaling? I'm sure you get that question a lot, like, when should I grow? So how do you approach that, and what advice do you give people?
I mean, from my experience, like, what I love about the group is there, I've been a business owner. I've been a landscape foreman. I've been a project manager. I've been a residential designer. I've worked for 8 different landscape companies in my life. So I've worked at $10 million companies. I've been on staff with like 75 people. So I think I'm just really leery of growth and how fast you grow. That is my biggest thing, is like, you can have all these goals you want, but they're not going to happen tomorrow. So it just has to be a slower course. And I know that's not the society that we live in right now, but you have to understand, to sustain, it has to be a slow ride. And then I think it comes down to, I can say it for myself, like personality, what you're comfortable with. Like, when I went into business, I didn't want to manage anybody but myself, right? I thought that's all I could handle, because I had been a residential designer and a project manager, and I ran multiple crews and I worked with big staffs. And there's headaches. There's lots of headaches that come with growing. So are you prepared to grow? Do you have the staff to grow? right? And then it's like, just like you and I talk all the time, there's other ways to leverage the money coming in besides gaining another crew, right? I always tell these guys, you can have 3 crews, do $1 million a year because, the work is all the same. Or you can have 1 crew, 2 guys, charge more because your work is different and still scale your business. You can scale your business with creativity and design the same exact way as you can scale it by adding another crew. And I don't think a lot of people can wrap their head around that concept, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to have 10 crews and we're going to put in all the same color patio. Well, that's fine. You're going to have a lot of headaches with 25 guys, and you're probably not going to make the profit I could if I just had 1 solid crew. And you are the testimony for that 100% with Premier Outdoor Living. So I know you know what I'm talking about here, because how easy I'm going to throw this back at you. How easy would it be for you to be like, I'm starting another crew? You're obviously, everyone, we have the work coming in, but why are guys like you and I not starting another crew, right?
It would be incredibly easy for me to start another crew. Now, to maintain another crew and manage them moving forward on an ongoing basis, that I would not be good at. But starting one seems kind of fun, seems pretty easy. Exactly. But maintaining one, no, I wouldn't be too good at that. I'm just, I think I look at what, number one, what are my strengths and what do I like to do? And I sort of dabbled in growing and scaling volume a little bit. And I did that for 1 year, where that was like sort of the goal behind the things that I was doing and efficiencies and trying to kind of prep for that. And I was just doing a lot more sales calls. I was doing a lot more permits and stuff like that. And I just realized that, number one, it's the stuff that I don't like, and it's the stuff that I'm not good at. And if I'm going to grow this business, I got to think of a different way to do it, because I don't feel like I'm going to be good at this. And I think if I do go to 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 crews, I'm just not going to be, that's not going to be sustainable for me, because I'm not organized enough. That's just not where my strengths lie. My strengths lie in creativity, kind of thinking outside the box for a different way to grow the business. Creative with the designs that we do and the stuff that we implement. And I realized that you can stay small, and there's a couple different facets to this. Number one, if you stay small, there's a really you have an interesting proposition for a client when you say, I'm the one that's designing it, I'm going to be the one that's there building it, we only do one job at a time. There's a certain clientele that is going to love that.
Exactly.
No matter, a lot of people think about it like, no, it doesn't seem professional if we only have one crew. It seems like we're kind of amateur hour over here. We want to be this big company that's all buttoned up. There's a lot of clients that want that personal experience, and they don't want to feel like they're just a number to a huge company that does hundreds of projects a year. So number one, there's a lot of value in that. People want that direct communication with the owner and the designer and the person that's on site. People want that. And number two, when you separate yourself with the type of projects that you're doing, I always tell people just, kind of the same thing that you're saying. Separate yourself, be yourself, find your style and your identity, and lean into that as much as you can, because you're going to do 2 things. You're going to alienate a whole bunch of people. There's going to be a whole bunch of clients that are going to be like, I hate what this guy does. I hate the look of everything, and I'm never going to hire them. But then you're going to also cultivate this other group of people that's going to say, I've never seen anything quite like this, and I love it. And I know that if I want it, that's the person to call, because I haven't seen anybody do this exact thing. So I think people are trying to be too much to everybody. They want to appease everybody. That's why we'll walk away from a job that just doesn't fit our style. It's not going to do anything good for us. Find somebody else that's good at that style, that loves that style, and they'll be better than we are. We're just not a good fit. So I think really finding what defines you and separates you, and just lean into that as much as you possibly can. And that's how you get out of that price per square foot battle.
100%.
When you can't compare apples to apples with somebody, if you're just doing the plain Jane stuff, a lot of people can do that. And then it comes to the lowest common denominator, which is, all right, how much is it going to cost? when you can break out of that, that is like, that was the biggest thing for me when I broke away from that. And it was like, we're going to sell this whole package. And it's just, this is the price. And it's hard for them to break down. Well, all right, well, you're charging this much per square foot. There's too much to it to be able to break it down like that. So, that was a really long-winded way of saying, be yourself, I guess. Yeah, no. I don't know.
And also when I talk about leveraging, besides growing the crew, like, we're leveraging things with our vision, right? Like, and that's one thing when I started charging for my designs, or when we didn't used to charge for designs, it's like, I can draw a design in an hour. So that's $75. No, that's $3,000 because it's my thought, it's my vision. And then I can go and pull that off. And there's so much to be said about, being on site all the time. A lot of these big businesses, they have a salesman come out and meet you. Then they have a designer come out and meet you. And sometimes you don't even meet the owner of the company. And then the guy you fall in love with usually is the foreman, right? Because he's on your site all the time, but he doesn't have all the resources and answers that the owner, designer, staying on the site would. And when you said a certain clientele, picks this up, I would like to think that certain clientele, is in an upper echelon of the clients that we're working with. Yeah. They're going to, if they appreciate that, they probably have experienced some things in their life with working with all kinds of people where they start to pick up on what you're doing because they're a successful entrepreneur or they're a successful doctor or lawyer or whatever, and they know the route it takes to get there. And everyone knows that scaling things with anything can bring down the quality. So, but that's what's cool about the industry. And I've said this before is if it's not me, there's a guy out there for you. There's a guy right down the street who wants to do that patio that you're looking for with no curves and no colors in it. Right. Yeah. But that's not me. I'm going to continue to move on. And what my biggest thing was when guys would be like, I'm busy. When we were talking about social media and getting to work and stuff, it's like, I'm busy. I don't need any more work. Right. I was booked out for 2.5 years when I got the Knoxville job. Mm-hmm. Right. But I'm going to Knoxville. I'm doing a 6-figure job. And so it's like, I'm getting the best work now. And I think even in my local market, like there's a couple contractors in my local market who are booked, with the same type of projects and the same type of work. I don't need to advertise. I'm booked. Like, oh, I'm on my way to Knoxville because I got on social media. Yeah. It's just pretty simple. So everyone's, why are you still advertising if you're booked? Even now, I'm advertising for the biggest, best jobs. That's what I'm trying to go after. Yes, I'm booked. I'm going after bigger fish with my portfolio and getting my face on camera and everything that we talked about. So 100%, man. That's why I love sitting down with you. And I think that's why we've become, you said, close friends, is because we think a lot alike, man, for sure.
Definitely.
I'm figuring that out more and more. And I think I've used you as an example when I talk about people scaling. So, have you heard of Premier Outdoor Living? Is like, how many crews does he have? Everyone knows who he is, right? And so yeah, definitely. When we talked about what do you tell these guys when they want to go to the next level? Be cautious. And is it inside of you? Is that really what you want to do? Are you really made up to take things to the next level? And what does the vision of your company look like? Right. So yeah being yourself, that's 100%. I think as we all get older, I'm going to say it for myself, you start to embrace that more. Lots of times you're like, I can't do that. But yes, you can. Just be yourself. That's what separates us in society and in the grocery store, is just being ourselves. So it's for sure going to separate us in our industry as tradesmen, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think one of the things that you touched on was, I just lost my train of thought, but just being unique and like separating yourself is just the biggest thing that you can do. It's the one thing that is going to just make you different from the competition. And when you can do that, you aren't competing with that company anymore because you're different. So I love that you say that. I think it's awesome. I can't believe we've already been going almost an hour, which is crazy.
And so a lot of guys joining the group, they want to do the same thing because maybe they've been hardscaping for 5 years, but they've never got that top client or that top job or a big job yet or whatever. So it's separate yourself with craftsmanship, kill it with the design. And so a lot of guys are signing up for the group who want to follow the same model as I do as well. And a lot of guys other business owners are signing up for the group. And I'll be honest, I'm streamlining their employee training.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, even if you're a business owner and you do have 10 crews, I'm getting messages right now. We just launched a couple new courses, and it's winter time, and these guys are bringing their crews in to watch my courses on the TV in the lunchroom or whatever. So
yeah,
that is, so we're still helping you no matter what level of business you're at. But obviously I really lean into the one-man bands or the guys who want to kill it with craftsmanship, and just let them know, like, even when I take on a 6-figure project, I take that on like I'm going to build the whole thing myself. And then if I find help, great. Right? Yeah. Because I know that it's just going to be dialed with details. The right clientele is going to pick up on all that, and then just take it to the next level. So I think one patio and one portfolio piece can change the course of your business.
100%. And, yeah, like that absolutely happened with us. Like we did one project that, I finally felt like was an opportunity to do the whole backyard and make it like an unbelievable transformation. And the budget wasn't there to totally do it up. If I was going to charge what it should cost, but at the time I didn't really have a lot of work. So it was like, okay, I can either take this opportunity and get this portfolio piece, and I won't make a ton of money, but I can do this. They're going to kind of let me get creative with it. The budget's not really there, but I can just, I can basically work for free for a while just to get this picture, because I knew it was the perfect setup to just create a portfolio piece that was going to start to separate me. And I looked at that opportunity and I knew I had to take it. And looking back, it's like, you see these certain decisions that you make in these certain projects that you do that change the course of everything. When Ant first started with us, we built the first project with a roof, and it was like, before that, we were just doing decks and patios, no roof structures, or if there were roof structures, they were very simple. And now it's like almost every single project has a roof structure and they're getting bigger and bigger. And he even said that, he's like, once you build this and post this, like everyone's going to want a roof structure. And you see these certain projects throughout the course of your business that change everything. They change the trajectory of your business and your life. And, And I finally remembered what I was going to say when I lost my train of thought, which is, I think a lot of people, when they're just getting started in the business, they, there's just this concept of grow, scale. And it's just kind of like ingrained in a lot of stuff when we talk about business. And the thing that really was a game changer for me was realizing, what's that job that I'm creating for myself? I think a lot of people go into it like, well, the goal is to just scale this big enough where I don't do anything and I retire. And it's like, that's great, whatever. But most of the time you're creating a job for yourself.
Sure,
and you better make sure that it's around your strengths and it's around the things that you like to do. And that was a big shift for me when I realized that I'm creating a job for myself, and what is the best role that I could play to be the most successful and enjoy it the most. And that was when I decided, well, we got to shift some things, and I got to really lean into my creativity, because that's the thing that separates me. There's the things that separate our jobs from other jobs, but there's also things that separate me from everybody else. And my strength is creativity. It's not organization. It's not any of the stuff about scaling a business. So I realized, luckily early on, that's not the route for me. And I got to figure out something different. So I love that you're preaching kind of both sides of it. You can give input and help no matter where people are at on their journey and where they kind of potentially want to go. So I think that's really cool. You're kind of providing all of those resources, whether you want to build it yourself and be that next artist, or, give them the thing to train their crews to make sure when you scale, your quality is not just, disintegrating. You're making sure that they have the tools they need.
100%. And the biggest takeaway from you was talking about, you lose $8,000 on a job, but it adds to your portfolio piece, or you go and pay, one of these SEO people $8,000 and you get a couple random tire kicker leads, right, come in. So I think it's hard to fathom that, but I think you and I, we can both say that we're testaments for that exact plan and that exactly what we talked about. So knowing what your strengths are, knowing what your job looks like, knowing what the vision of your company is, and how you see yourself. handling it for sure. So
absolutely. Well, I feel like we've we've covered a lot, but we haven't covered that much, and it's already been an hour. So, I'm excited to really see what this next stage is for you with Hardscape Mentor Studios, all of that good stuff. Like I said, we don't like to endorse or vouch for any type of mentor or guru, but Dan, you're different because I love the way that you're doing it. You have the street cred, the portfolio, and just the stuff that you're teaching. You're like usually gurus aren't supposed to say, you can't do it too fast. Like gurus are supposed to say, yeah,
10x it.
Yeah, you wanted this tomorrow? No problem.
Right, yeah.
You got to pay more to get the tomorrow success package, but
Right.
So I just think that
thank you so much, man.
They're, you're doing it the right way. You're cultivating just an awesome community of people that are going to, be the next generation of crafts people and installers. And, we need more people that see that side of it, not this instant rise to success and all this other nonsense, because it's just 99% of the time that's not going to happen to you. And, and it's not going to be sustainable. So that's what I'm all about.
It's hard to tell these guys, how did you get to the level you were at, Dan, or whatever? It's like, I just kept my head down.
Yep.
Like that's my line. It's like, I literally just kept my head down on my work.
Yep.
I wasn't looking up like I want to be a mentor. I want to have this many followers. I want everyone to know who I am. No, that all just came from literally just keeping my head down. Right. And now I feel it's all just going to come from helping people out. Like my success is going to be however many dudes I can help put in their first patio.
Yeah.
So that's what's going to define my success for me, for sure.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I guess we'll leave it there for now, for this episode.
I want to be the first third.
Yeah.
Three-timer. I want to be the first three-timer.
Well, we talked about whenever I do my either front yard, backyard, any type of hardscaping, we're going to have you come out and collaborate with us on that at my house. I don't know when I'll be able to get around to it. We spent way too much time working on the shop build this year and being away from any paying projects. So it might have to be maybe next year. I don't know, but I would absolutely love to have you out or just come hang out when you're on the East Coast.
I definitely think I'm safe to say we'd be giving the people what they wanted if we did a Preston Premier collaboration. So
I think so. You got me sold. You got me sold for sure.
Well, let's keep that narrative going for sure. And I always appreciate the interest and consideration from you guys and your kind words and just backing up everything I said. I love it. Like I use a line like I can say now I'm not just whistling Dixie, right? It's like Dawn is backing me up on these things, and that's why I love it when a lot of the peers are joining the group because of those same things that we talked about. So I love it, man. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, and one of the things that you said you kind of lived by 2 years ago was work hard and be nice. And I love how simple that is, and you're still living that motto. So thank you for that. And how can people follow you, find out more about Hardscape Mentor, all that good stuff?
Yeah, so for sure. So definitely follow Hardscape Mentor, on all the social channels. Check out our YouTube stuff. We're really trying to grow our YouTube channel right now, and then inevitably become a member. I mean, the membership is closed down right now because we just launched 3 new courses, but coming in another month or so, the membership will open back up. You'll have full access to all the courses. So you can reach out to us. You can DM us on Instagram if you want to know more, or we have our email set up on the website. So go ahead and reach out. Definitely just talk to some guys in the industry, and you probably already know a herd member that you can get some advice from about our group. And I just got to leave it at this. If we're talking about, I just had a really cool testimony come in where, and I've even been called a fraud, or people have been skeptic. And we just had a shout out to Carl Nelson up in Canada. He did this whole reel on his skepticism of who I was and Hardscape Mentor, and do I believe this, BS I see coming across my Instagram all the time. So then we ran a special. He signed up. He became a member of the herd. And then he just told this whole thing like, this is legit. These people are, so it was really cool. And it just made me realize, like, I'm sure there's skeptics out there because of all the people running around and doing this. So I just have to say, join the herd. You can cancel anytime. No one is leaving our group though, because we're just surrounded by people who are going to take you to another level. Right. And my 25 years of experience, Luke being the marketing guru, we will help take you to the next level. And it's all practical applications you can take into the field the second you learn it. So I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it was a pleasure having you on again, Dan. Be well, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, next time's in New Jersey in the new podcast room you're building right now.
There you go. Sure. Love it. Love it.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.